It begs. There's two questions. We talked about the one of the questions, but this one I think we have to ask. And our guys, our Georgia guys, Colin and Anthony, aren't here with us today, but they'll be with here down the line. I've heard a lot of talk about, can Georgia going to go for the three-peat? Can they get another national championship? We saw how many pieces they lost from the 2021 to last year, and we asked the same question, and they completely blew that out the water. Only had two little games that were kind of hiccups, and like was it the Missouri, and then I think who they played before that.
Who was the other one?
I think it was a Pac-12, or not a Pac-12. It was a MAC team, if I'm not mistaken. But they struggled with them.
State?
Kent State, yes. They struggled with them in the first half and then kind of pulled away late. But still, it dominated everybody else. So can they realistically, do they have a shot at three-peat? I mean, they have a shot, but can they do it?
I think they can. I mean, last year I was like, they're not doing it. They lost too much defensively. And they proved me so wrong.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be interesting. You lost one of your main running backs. You lost your quarterback. You lost your offensive coordinator. Tom Monken went to the NFL. You lost your left tackle. So not only did you lose all that defensively, you also lost a fair bit offensively. Right. So it's going to be interesting to see how Carson Beck can handle that offense. But again, like I said before when we were talking top 25, until you knock them off, they're the top dogs. So I can't doubt them this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to bet against him. I'm not going to do it. Kirby Smart, he's turning into one of those coaches that you just don't bet against. Hey, look, he's got that team together. He's got his staff together. I know you said he lost Monken, but, he's still bringing in guys. I want to see how they do in the SEC this year. I know, Will Levis isn't there. Anthony Richardson's not there. And in some of those games, went back and forth for a little bit. I want to see if they can come in with them having a new quarterback against the Joe Milton, against the Alabama guy that you were talking about, against some of these teams. Devin O'Leary is at Kentucky this year, out of NC State. Had he not gotten hurt, he's one of those top tier quarterbacks coming last year. So I want to see what these guys can do, how their defense looks. But like you said, until somebody knocks them off of the perch, they're still the number one. They're still the top team. There it is.
And there's not many teams looking at their schedule right now that I think have a shot. I mean, early in the season, South Carolina could do it. Probably not likely. Sorry, Will.
Yeah.
They go to Auburn. They're going to slaughter Auburn. They host Kentucky, which if they were at Kentucky this year, I'd feel a little more iffy about that, but I feel like they'll probably roll on Kentucky. They go to Vanderbilt, which that could be that trap game because it's after Kentucky and right before Florida. Ooh. So that could be that trap game there. Obviously Florida. And then you host Missouri, host Ole Miss, go to Tennessee late in the season. So Joe Milton will probably have hit his stride by this point. Yeah. That's a definite maybe, especially with it being at Tennessee. And then at Georgia Tech to finish the year.
Yeah,
so there's there's a bunch of those games that are going to roll on people. But there's maybe 3-4 games where I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. So, look, and if they could run the table, and then even if they could get to the SEC championship, I saw a stat the other day where it said, I think, like 16 of the last 17 SEC championship winners got to the national championship game or something to that effect. Absolutely ridiculous. Just how great they've been and how sustained. Now, a lot of that has been Alabama. We know that. Yep. But you've had your LSUs. You had back-to-back Georgia. You had back-to-back Florida and like 08, 07, 08 or something like that. Mm-hmm. You had dominant SEC teams over the years. So it hasn't just been Alabama. It has not been South Carolina either. I don't know if the best time to play them is early. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was just going to say before this comment came up, if they had Tennessee early or Florida early, like if one of those games, if the SEC allowed that week 1, week 2 conference play to start like right away, then I would be real worried about Georgia in one of those 2 games. It doesn't worry me necessarily with them playing those games late October, early November.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but as of right now, until we see otherwise, they're still the Kings. They're still on top of the hill. There it is. Somebody's got to knock them